Technology has become an inevitable part of our daily lives, and consequently is rippling more and more onto our spiritual path. It has ways of influencing our spiritual awakening, our ability to be present. And while it's very helpful, I don't think we've ever had so much access to things like courses online. You have communities of people, you have channels like this full of information. At the same time, some of these things actually become the biggest obstacles on our spiritual path, which is quite ironic. Like the information oversaturation, where you enter Google or social media site and you'll be endlessly distracted with all the possible different exercises and tools and techniques and knowledge and books and everything that you need to know in order to be more present, ironically, which is seems to be the most simple thing in the world, but apparently not. And it can be helpful, but it can be harmful. The same thing I think applies to like work. Like we have more work now. Even though it's relieving a lot of our work, it's also giving us a lot of extra work. Like back in the day, you went up to a flight booking service and the person would find the best deal and create a package and give it to you. Now it's up to us. Like there's a few websites that do packages, but it's up to us to find the best prices, the best deals. So you become like your own personal secretary.
Yeah, you become everything.
Yeah, you're like an everything person.
You're in everything. You're like Amazon. You're like the everything store, except, you know, you're just like a person, like a normal average person. It's so difficult. I find it's very difficult to live in this modern day life, this modern day world with so much distraction. And I know that you can probably relate to that as well. You know, I feel like one of the biggest difficulties is that technology, while it helps us in many ways, it also fundamentally trains and conditions us to be out of the present moment, to be in our minds, to be in our fantasies, to be in our thoughts of the past and the future, and to, most crucially, not be present with what we're feeling, not be present with the ordinary magic of daily life. And I feel like that's one of the struggles and one of the shadows of technology that we really need to be aware of.
I feel like technology has diminished our ability to really be with people, to get to relate and connect in a deeper way, because really you can't even be with yourself. I find it's so hard to learn to stay present when you have an endless source of distraction at your fingertips in your pocket. Just going to the doctor's office, you'll see back in the day we just sit there and just be with your feelings, be with your thoughts, be with your uncomfortableness of other people around if you found it uncomfortable, or started talking with them. But now you can just sit there and pull out your phone and get lost on an endless stream of distraction. And you don't have to deal, you don't have to acknowledge with those uncomfortable sensations. That's what makes it so addictive and so numbing, is that you really don't have to be uncomfortable in life anymore. You can escape discomfort and therefore not have to be present unless you make that extra effort.
Yeah, that's a big issue. And also toxic comparison, you know, that's a big issue that comes along with you know, technology and the spiritual path, is that we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people. We're constantly on this this addictive cycle and spiral of following other people in their lives and comparing ourselves to where they're at, and comparing ourselves to what level of you know, skill and insight and whatever they have, and that has a tendency to constantly reinforce this idea that there's something wrong with us, that just because we're not like that other person, there's something deficient, there's something that we need to develop, there's something that we need to grow within ourselves. It's very hard to just accept ourselves and practice self-love.
And unrealistic, I feel, because like, first of all, everything is manicured, everything is positioned and placed in a certain way. So
manicured, that's exactly.
It's not very authentic, is it? Like everyone's just creating this fake, like you have like lights and you have all these things to make it look nice and pretty for presentation purposes, but it's not real life.
Yeah, that's it.
That's not reality. And then secondly, these people have gone through all these experiences that have got them to a place where we're trying to compare ourselves to someone who's done a whole different journey and they're in a different stage of their journey. And it's unfair for us to expect ourselves to be at that same stage that they're at.
Because we're all at different stages in life, and we can't expect to be at the same stage as them. You know, in some ways maybe they're more developed than we are. In some ways we're more developed than they are. It's just that, you know, I guess the person that can create a beautiful aesthetic, the most beautiful aesthetic, is the most desirable, and that is really destructive and negative for our well-being. And also the spiritual materialism aspect of technology. You know, technology is obviously useful. It helps us to connect with other people, to express ourselves, to be heard and to be seen. But at the same time, it also tends to send us into this spiral of spiritual materialism, you know, seeing other people and their yoga classes, their yoga outfits and their crystals and their tarot decks and, you know, all of the books that they're reading, all the things they're achieving, the places they're traveling. And we make the mistake of seeing that as true spirituality, you know, like all of this stuff that you possess and that you own and that you get and that you achieve and accomplish. I feel like that is it's detrimental. It's something we need to really be mindful of on our paths.
I think that's what you have to reflect. Is how much time are you spending on these websites, on these apps, on these games, and what do you use it for? Like those are the two big questions. Like how much time am I spending and what do I really use it for? What's my purpose behind it? Technology is a tool. You can use it for good, you can use it for evil. And there's a lot of tools that will help you, like apps and software that will monitor how much time you're spending on different sites, or block it, they'll give you reminders like you spend this amount of time online. All these tools can be very, very helpful if you're wanting to ironically monitor and limit how much time with technology you're exposing yourself to. It's
important to carve out that time for yourself that is away from this technological distraction, you know, this leeching of your energy. It's like an energy vampire, technology, really. It's like this constant source of energy drain, you know. And I feel like it's important to be minimalistic with, you know, what we decide to commit our time to online. You know, like for me, I recently just deleted Instagram because I was spending too much time on it. And I felt so much inner spaciousness doing that. I felt so much more free doing that, being a technology minimalist. I feel like when we can approach technology with a mindful, minimalistic attitude, that's when it works for us rather than against us. So if you appreciated this video, feel free to like and share it, and also in the comments just let us know what is your experience with spiritual awakening, the spiritual path, and technology.
What tools you might want to suggest as well. Maybe you found something that other people might benefit from.
That's it. That would be great.